Okay guys, welcome to a video about Matten Filters. My name is Cody, I'm with CJ Aquatics, and these tanks all have Matten filters. So if you don't know what a Matten filter is very similar to a sponge filter in that it's air driven, and that the sponge allows for your bacteria to grow and live on, right? My helper's here, Chewy. And so today we're going to talk about the benefits of running your tank on that. Now, there's a few downfalls, right? So the few downfalls are, it's going to be, so we have a standard 10-gallon tank here, right? So this could be done really with any size tank. Obviously, when you start getting to a certain size, it doesn't really make a lot of sense because of the movement of water. 10-gallon, 20-gallon, 20 long, probably even a 40 breeder. You might want to do one on each side at that point, depends on your stocking level of fish, right? It's great for these 10-gallon tanks. So these are 10-gallon tanks. These are tanks that we're breeding fish in. No surprise. They work great for that. We do weekly water changes since we're breeding fish, right? And we stock heavily and we do water changes heavily. We also put live plants and things like that to help. But the Matten filter is much larger when it comes to surface space. So a typical sponge filter, right? I got some extra ones in here with these mollies. Little tip, if you're looking to cycle more tanks, throw some sponge filters in a cycle tank, and they will start to get bacteria too, right? So this is a typical sponge filter. This is a small, right? For a little, 5-gallon tank, nano tank, things like that. We use these in our fry tanks, okay? They're small, they don't put a lot of volume out, so therefore they don't create a lot of current, so the fry are able to swim around these and not be sucked into them and whatnot, right? So very simple, very little. These little ones do get clogged easily, again, while we use them for the fry. Anyway, it's the same concept, and so this right here is your surface space, okay? Well, on the Matten filters, which when you buy the foam, depending on who you get it from, it comes compressed. So you gotta let it get big, right? And so here's a piece. So now look at all this surface space, okay? So this could hold way more beneficial bacteria than that little sponge filter ever thought about having. I would think you would need what, 4 or 5, probably 4 or 5 of these 4 or 5 of those sponge filters to match this same surface area. I'm not a math guru, so I haven't done the math on that. I order these directly. I get these from a company called Aquaneat. You can get them off Amazon, different places like that. Again, Aquaneat. And they work really well. And so I let them grow, because they've been shrunk down for shipping. And it's a really simple process. And so all these tanks, it's probably hard to see in the video, but the water clarity is really good in these tanks. Their fronts are kind of dirty from splashing around and different things. And, we've had to, doing water changes and moving fish and things, right? So you get that, you get all those splashes. So it might not look very good from there, but when you actually look down in the water clarity is really well. And this is the only filter that those tanks run. I do use substrate in those. Those are all live bearer tanks. And so the reason why I use substrate is if I don't catch the babies or the pregnant mom in time, whichever ends up happening, I try to remove the pregnant mom and put her somewhere else to have her fry and then put her back in the big tank. But sometimes I miss it, right? We all do. And it gives the spot for the fry to go down in the substrate. 1, with the plants. 2 is it also, substrate allows another spot for beneficial bacteria to live. Now it also is a place to harbor poop and uneaten food and things like that, so that's why water changes are still very important. Some people will argue with me on the bare bottom or not. Some tanks we do bare bottoming, some tanks we don't, okay? Those we don't with the live bearers. If it wasn't live bearers and we were actually introducing just eggs in, then yes, we would. And our fry tanks also are bare bottom. So I do understand the concept. I think it gives them a little better home, and so we do that. But anyway, back to what we're talking about. Okay, so you got your foam. You're going to need some kind of propulsion system. So our tanks are all pretty well ran off of air except for these commercial systems, right, which you hear humming in the background, and I apologize. There's no effective way to filter marine systems off of air that I'm aware of that actually get the job done. So this is a marine land aquarium system here that runs, and this is our saltwater and reefs. We have corals and things like that in there, and we have some breeding clownfish that breed. So anyway, back to topic. There's all different types of sponge filters, right? So I'm talking about these type right here, okay? They make the ones that are dual, that have one on each side. You can't see this tank, but this tank right here has some sponge filters in the bottom, but it also has these on the side that have the dual. And any of those will work. Obviously the dual are a little bit bigger, so they have more volume, okay? So it just depends on what you want. These are plenty sufficient. These right here is what's powering all these tanks. And so you can't probably see it, but if you see a layer of bubbles on the top, it's from these, okay? This is what's gonna suck the water through the Matten filter, and it's gonna be the back of the tank. So again, if you wanna have your tank displayed like this, then it might not look so great because the filter's gonna sit like this, and you're gonna have a section, right? And so it just depends on what you're looking for, okay? And so I think they do a great job. You won't need this sponge, but again, if this sponge is already cycled, do not get rid of it, keep it. Simply for right now, I'm gonna throw it in our tank just because I don't want that beneficial bacteria to die. You may need it in another tank. Okay, another thing though, is so you're gonna put your Matten filter like this, and I don't know if y'all can see it or not. This thing has a little bit of water in it, and so now that's it. So if you're setting your tanks up like this, then it's great. And then from the back, you have your Matten filter. This device is going to go down there. We're going to cut a little hole in this foam to allow the water to come out, and that's what's going to cause the water to get sucked through the foam and back into the tank. And I will pick my phone up in a minute, and I will show you all how it works back there. So another thing that's a benefit of Matten filters is your filtration is much larger for beneficial. Because it's such a large space, you don't have to clean it that often. So if you do bare bottoms, it's very easy. You pull it out, clean it, put it back. If you're gonna do substrate like I did, I don't do super thick substrate, I just do a little bit. You can kind of push the substrate back, pull it out, clean it, put it back. But you don't clean it very often. What's nice is if you have the ability to get to the back of your rack like I do, you can look in there and you'll be able to see. If you see detritus and other things like that, just funky stuff building up, then it's probably time to clean it, right? What I can tell you is the water movement through this is so slow, it'll probably never clog unless you were to have some type of algae bloom that just created big particles that clogged it up. It's very unlikely. Any type of air-driven filter is never going to quote-unquote clog up, as far as it's not going to stop. It's it's not going to be effective. And so when I say clog up, I mean, yes, the foam can clog, and you need to pay attention to that. But it's not going to like burn up like a hang on the back filter would actually burn the motor up, right? That's not going to happen. Your bacteria level is going to die because it needs that fresh supply of water, which has the ammonia in it for the nitrification cycle. There you go. There's the word. And if it's not being fed, they're going to die off. It's just not going to be good. So you do need to make sure you're watching it, but it's going to take a long time for this to get to the point that you need to clean it. Okay, especially if it's a home tank that you only have, like a tank like this, maybe 4 or 5 fish in it, maybe 6 little community fish. It'll take a long time. If you were just doing weekly, bi-weekly gravel vacs, this system would last you a long time. And again, it's air driven, so there's no electricity required. So if you were to, I would say goldfish, but goldfish are very dirty, so just know that. That's not what we're here to talk about today. But if you do get into goldfish, they're very dirty. You need high filtration for goldfish. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Okay, so how I cut these. It's very simple. You're just gonna get all the water out, right? And like I said, you don't want to be in a hurry with anything in the aquatic business, right? Everything needs time to cycle and mature and whatever word you want to call it. And so I let these sit in a mature tank. So they're in there and they've been in there. So these have live bacteria. That's why I'm keeping it in the water the best I can. Okay, so most of us in the aquarium business, we have diamond cutters, right? You don't need a diamond cutter. The diamond cutter just makes a really nice it doesn't grab the foam and rip it up like some other hole saws would. So I have a whole set of these. Honestly guys, I think this was less than $20 for a set of these. I got them on Amazon because we do drill some tanks from time to time for overflows and returns and whatnot. We're actually going to build a whole new racking system for our freshwater live bearers. And so stay tuned for that. We'll have videos, plenty of videos on how we're going to build that. We're going to build it ourselves, and we're going to drill the tanks, and we're going to have a sump and the whole thing. And of course you say, well, you're going to have a sump on a freshwater. Of course it's just so that way we can locate all the filters there. We're going to, the media there, we're going to locate the heater there, things like that. We'll still have individual sponge filters in each tank, because again, sponge filters are just great for beneficial bacteria. Okay, so again, make sure that you're doing your foam the right way. So you see there's a difference, right? So this is too short, this is just right. Again, Aquaneat makes this, and they don't tell you it's for a 10-gallon tank. I just had to measure, and I seen it, and I thought, oh dang, okay, I buy a lot of things from Aquaneat. They just have really good pricing, and if you're in the aquatic business and you're gonna run multiple tanks or a fish rack, it's a great place to start. You know, there are some good products out there. You don't always have to buy the most expensive ones to be successful, so just remember that. Like this system right here is $3,000 or $4,000 brand new. I bought this used at a store that was going out, okay? And I paid far, far less than that, and there is nothing wrong with this system. It works very well. Okay, so we're gonna get our, and as far as size, you're gonna ask what size, right? That is completely up to you. So what I do is I get a little extender tube, okay? Y'all can see. So I like the water flow. So we have these extender tubes fit in here like this, and allows the water to come out, and you actually get a circulation flow. If you don't, this foam is so thick that the end of this is gonna be before the end of the foam, okay? And so especially, it depends on what you're putting back there. So the foam can be as far away from the back wall as you want, or as close to the back wall that allow this to operate. You want water to move back there. What I put back behind mine is I put my heater back there. Again, aquatic rooms, we do typically want to heat the room, not the tank. I'm operating out of a garage, and I'm in Texas, and Texas weather's all over the place. I do have the garage heated, but I always just want to have a fail-safe, so I do have some little heaters in all of my tanks. Again, got a really good deal on them. They typically don't run. I have the ones that turn red when they're running and turn green when they're to temp, and I will tell you that 99% of the time that I walk behind this rack or any of these, they're all to temp because it is a heated room. I actually turned the heater off to do this video because it was getting a little warm in here for me. Again, you know, if you want 74, 75, 76 temperature water, you're going to need your room's going to need to be 78-ish degrees, right? And so, like I said, they don't normally run, but I just have it as a fail-safe for me. We do get some crazy where the temperature dives down quickly here in the Dallas area, and so I would hate for a breaker to be tripped or something to happen, you know, and not have that source. Now, obviously, I'm in here multiple times a day, but still. Okay, guys, so we're going to put our diamond bit on our drill. Nothing fancy there, regular drill. Now, again, make sure you have it the right side. This is right, this is wrong. If you do it like this, you're not going to be able to have your water level very high, okay? I always put it at the very top, and again, that's because I want to have the highest water level in my tanks that I can. I don't want to be having a low water level because I cut a hole in the foam, because if you cut the hole too low and you put the water above that, the water's just going to go path of least resistance, which is going to go right back in that hole, and you're just going to circulate that same water you're pumping out. You want the water to come through the foam, okay? Nothing special. Diamond cutter makes it really simple. I get really close. I don't know if you can see to the top, and you just barely give it any pressure, and it comes through. See that? Pull that out. You'll see my hole, hopefully, there that I made. And so that's where this little doodad here is going to fit through. And you see how it fits through? And again, I'll show you on the front one, but this is what the back looks like. And that's it, guys. That's all you're going to do. This little piece of foam right here, again, as you all should know in the hobby, in the industry, beneficial bacteria is key to all success. So what do I do with these? I actually throw them in here behind the Matten filter because it's just one more place for live beneficial bacteria to live. The more places you have for that, the better. If you are into marine aquariums, I have several in my house, but if you're in marine aquariums, this system you don't see a lot of rock in, okay? There is some in there, but there's a bunch down in that sump, okay? And so that's the difference on commercial systems. They're to display fish. Home systems are to display the whole thing, and if they don't have a big sump, then they need to have that. This also has many commercial level systems that export nutrients, which is what you're wanting to do to keep your system and your levels low, right? And so it does it a little differently. Does a great job at it. I'll give Marine Land their credit. Been a great system for me. But in the house, my systems obviously have much more rock and whatnot on them. Okay, back to the Matten filter. So you're gonna put your filter in here. Like I said, hopefully it's one of the first things you do. You're going to get it how you want it. Another thing is if you're somebody who likes houseplants, this is a great place. You can stick some houseplants back here. I don't know if you can see them or not. I have some on the top of there. We have some on this tank too. And they just suck up extra nutrients and grow really well. Okay, back here, you're gonna put this down, suction cup it to the back of your tank, like so, and you're off. And you're gonna push that back. Again, I put my heater back there because I do run heaters, not everybody does. And so that's really it, guys. I'm gonna put the camera up real quick, and I'm gonna I'm gonna flip it around so y'all can see. Well, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not gonna flip it around, sorry y'all. Okay, so you'll see that you can see how the hose sticks out, right? Okay. Okay, so it's the same for these. So you see how that sticks out? Now on this tank, I have this one, which is the same thing we just did, and then I also have this one. And the only reason I have that one is for extra flow was just because that tank had a lot of fish in it at one point, and it was helping the efficiency of making sure that the water was staying filtered. Y'all want to say hi to some of our breeding clownfish? Okay, as promised, I'll show you the back. Let me get a light here real quick, guys, and so like this is the back of one. So you'll see the tubes there, my little heater's there, sucks the water through the Matten filter, and then it returns it right back into the tank, okay? And so, yeah, and so that's how you do a Matten filter. They work great for us, and we have continued to put them in and install them, and we pretty much will on most all of our tanks that we're doing with 10 and 20 gallon tanks. Like I said, much bigger than that. You know, it's not to say that air driven and foam won't filter your tank. It by all means will. I just can't imagine having a Matten filter, a piece of foam that size on a 75 or a 55 or 100. I'm sure you could. You would probably need several air heads to be moving water through it, but it just doesn't seem realistic to me. So anyway, we appreciate it. I hope you learned something today. Like and share. Again, we appreciate if you subscribe to our channel. We also have our Facebook page, and we are looking forward to making more videos and working with people. Thanks. Bye.